Okay, today's the last class of the semester, and I always look forward to this class because you get a chance to actually compete. And trust me, it's just going to be a fun thing. We're not trying to see who the champion is of the class or anything like that. The main thing I want to do as I walk around when you're playing another player is to give you some guidelines as far as the rules of 8-ball. And also, some suggestions about what shots to shoot. And as a lot of you already know, in 8-ball, that's probably one of the most important things is shot selection. And you can see that just by watching league or getting on YouTube and watching matches and things like that. But again, a fun opportunity. And the reason why we're playing short rack 8-ball is I think those of you that aren't as skilled as others, you'll notice that it's a lot more fun because there's more open shots and a little bit easier in the beginning. Now, I am going to handicap it a little bit. Kathy and Stephanie will get 2 shots to your 1. In other words, they get a mulligan after each shot. So,
it's not cumulative.
Yeah.
Right?
Anyway, I think that'll help balance it out a little bit. So, I encourage y'all to have a little fun with that.
2 misses. So 2 misses.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. All right. If you look at the sheet I handed out, I always like to end my classes with everything you always wanted to know about pool, but were afraid to ask. Okay. And I'm not Woody Allen or anything like that, but I would like to give you an opportunity right now to ask any questions about what we talked about or learned throughout the class. Doesn't matter what it is. It could be banking, combinations, anything. Yeah, go ahead, Kat.
I have some questions on playing the game.
Yeah.
Examples of fouls.
Oh, excellent. All right, let me go through that. And this, for those of you that play league or plan on playing league or in a tournament, this is real important. All right, let's talk about first what happens if the table is open, like after the break, nobody makes anything on the break. All right, in BCA rules, I can actually shoot the 13 and call the 6 on the side, and that would be a legal shot. But once I establish my group, let's say that I make the 6 like this. All right. Now, if I I have established solid's ball. So from now on, I must make a legal shot on a solid. Now, if I did this now and I'm shooting the 4, and I clip the 13 like that, my opponent would get ball in hand anywhere on the table. That would be considered a foul. Now, the whole idea of what a legal shot has to do with hitting the rail after contact. In other words, you must make a legal hit on your object ball, whether it's stripes or solids, and then some ball on the table has to hit a rail. It could be the cue ball, it could be one of your object balls, one of your opponent's object balls, it could even be the 8-ball. But a foul would be something like this. Let's say I'm shooting the 4, and I go to the rail first like that, and no contact to a rail after contact to my object ball would also be a foul. Ball in hand anywhere on the table. Now, as far as fouls that Kathy mentioned, this happens a lot in 8-ball pool. Now, somebody will be shooting the 13 in the corner, and they get their bridge up like that, and they move the 4. All right? That's not a foul. You just simply tell your opponent will tell you, go ahead and move it back or leave it where it is. But that moving 1 ball is not a foul. But what happens if I have 2 balls like this and I get up like that and do that, move 2 balls? That is a foul, all right? When you move more than 1 object.
So what, ball in hand? Or
ball in hand, anywhere on the table. Anywhere on the table. Now, the other situation is, some people, I've seen this a lot, they get up to address their cue ball and they just kind of touch it like that. That's also a foul. Ball in hand. And a lot of you, I know, already know all these rules, but,
But even if that's an accident.
oh, it doesn't
they're
matter.
just
It's
lining
still
up
a foul.
and
Yeah.
touch it with a tip.
Touch the cue ball is sacred. If you touch the cue ball, it's a foul.
With a tip, not with the side of your stick.
It doesn't matter. You could do this.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
you're
ball in hand.
oh, ball in hand, that's different. All right, ball in hand, I've seen, this is okay to do that. All right, you can kind of move it with your cue, but you can't touch it with your ferrule or your tip. All right, that's a foul.
Even a ball in hand, just positioning?
Yeah, with the tip.
Really?
Yeah.
Or the white.
If you touch it with the white or the tip, that's a foul.
Why is that? Maybe just reposition it?
Because that's kind of the, the critical part of the cue. And it could be confusing whether or not the guy is actually shooting or what, when you move the ball with the tip like this. That is a foul.
I've seen people do that. I didn't know that was foul.
With the tip of their cue, like that?
Yeah, just sometimes on ball in hand, just to try to position it.
Because
Yeah.
I've seen the pros do this, but I've never seen them use the tip.
That's enough.
Yeah. Okay. Good question, Kathy. There's a lot to that. Fouls. There's so many different
But when
kinds.
I'm just kind of playing with myself and
Yeah.
a game on the table, it's like, yeah, that was a foul. And I do it. And it's like,
That's the fun of practicing. You don't have to worry about that, right? All right. Any other?
I look in that same vein.
Yeah.
When the cue ball and a ball are within like a quarter of an inch.
Oh, that's another one. All right. If there's space between the balls, like you can see the 13 and the cue ball, there's about a quarter of an inch between them. If you shoot through, now listen to the sound of this shot. You hear the double hit there? That's a foul. In fact, if that occurs in a league or a tournament match, usually call a referee or a spotter to come over and watch the hit. Now, what do you do in a case when you're that? Yeah, you shoot at an angle, exactly. Like, for example, I might, to make the 13, I would just do something like this. All right, that's a legal shot. Or I could do this. I could jack up my cue like that, and that's a legal shot. All right.
And if
You
you're
can't shoot
touching, then it takes.
That's next. Now, if they're touching frozen like this, you just look at it, and you'll actually call over your opponent. I said, frozen ball, frozen ball. All right, in this case, I can shoot right through it without penalty. That's legal. You
Because
notice
it's
the
frozen.
sound
Because
is
it's frozen.
different. Because when there's space between the two, you're going to hear the double hit.
Peter, that's not a push when you do that?
No, no. As long as they're frozen, you can go right through.
Is there a rule for the distance before that happens, or?
No, it's either touching or it's not.
Well, I mean, how far before you have to worry about the double hit?
Well, I've
People
seen
say the size of a chalk, basically.
some people, that's going to vary by a person's stroke, but I've seen people foul from this distance. They'll go like that. Go all the way through, hit both balls, kind of thing, or double hit the blue ball. Now that would be an obvious foul, right? Even if I didn't stretch, it was a foul, right? But very rarely, if there's distance between the two, it's pretty hard to, But you're talking maybe here, it could easily happen. Like I've seen people, like that. You notice the cue ball went the same speed as the 7 ball. That's an indicator that you hit it twice, right? I didn't know you'd be so curious about fouling.
So you rack your own break.
What?
The rule is you rack your own break.
Most league and tournaments now are rack your own, and the reason why they went to that is there's no disputes over the rack. But actually in 9-ball, if you rack your own, you can cheat a little bit by loosening the back balls to the 9-ball to go towards the pocket. I hate to mention stuff like that. But there's people that actually do
Can't
that.
your opponent, after they see your rack, can't they say,
Yeah, if you see the person who's trying to make a loose rack in the back,
well, even if it's not intentional,
well,
but you
still,
notice the rack, if there's separation between the ball, can't you
The
ask for a
opponent can
rack?
stand up and say, you need to rack right again, that's improper.
So how do you do that? Just move the back three back?
Actually, which ball behind the 9 ball, if the left one is moved back a little bit, the 9 will go that way. The right one is moved back a little bit. And I've seen people do that. And I've seen people racking for other people that'll loosen the rack on purpose, you know. So when they hit the rack, it's like hitting mush, nothing happens. That's not part of the game. Only people that are a little disturbed do stuff like that. You know, I mean, that's not. Who wants to win that way? I don't care. All right, any other shots? All right, before we start the turn, oh, go ahead, Frank.
I have a question on
Yeah.
equipment.
Yeah.
So I would like to get a full stick, and I don't really know where to start. And I want to have a decent stick, but I don't want to spend a lot of money.
Oh, okay. Well, of course, there's a lot of sticks you can buy online, but also here at Barefoot Bob's, we have a mechanic that does tips and all that stuff, and he sells tools. So ask for Carl. You know, Carl.
There's a place in the Gateway Mall too.
Yeah.
There's a place in the Gateway Mall that sells billiards, all kinds of billiard stuff there. Just
I
like,
haven't seen that.
Yep.
What's it called?
yep,
Oh, games you can play.
yep, that's where I got my
All right.
stick at.
All right.
You have to do your belt. You know, Peter,
Yeah.
when you were showing how when the balls are frozen and they're a little off, you can kick it over, you can pin on either side.
Right.
And then you said something about even when they're separated a little bit, it'll still work.
Well, you're stand behind the pocket so you can see this, and I'll show you that it can work. See these two balls. You notice there's a space in between. All right, they're close enough. When they're within a half an inch to a quarter inch, they're still throwing.
So now,
You guys, the cameras.
the dead on is gonna hit here, but, so I need to know which side of the ball you.
All right,
The
let me-
opposite.
The opposite side.
It's opposite, that's
You want it to go to the right. So if I hit the left side of the 11 will turn. You're actually putting left English on the 11, which will throw the 13 in the pocket. And if you watch carefully, you'll see that it still throws quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
It went from there to there. It doesn't throw as much. And you noticed I hit it easy too.
Yeah,
The harder you hit it, the less it's going to throw.
okay.
But, you know, the further away you're from the pocket, it's even magnified. Like, look at this one. They're separate, like that. That's definitely to the right of the pocket, right?
Right.
And you've got about, almost a half an inch. But believe it or not, this can still throw. I'm going to hit the right side. And it's through. So if it's within a half to frozen, you can throw the combinations. And the main thing to remember about these shots a lot is that when you have shots like this, from a distance, and you can't hit the combination, let's say we're playing 8-ball and I have strikes. Now in this case, to make the 11 ball, since it's aimed to the left of the pocket, all I have to do is make believe the 15 is the cue ball and hit that side of the 3, and I can make the 11. So in this shot, I'm going to try to hit the 15 so it hits the left side. And that third ball is always the key ball when you're hitting a frozen combination.
Thanks.
Yeah. Those are fun shots too, and they'll win a lot of games, you know, knowing combinations. I grew up playing straight pool, you know, which is 14-1, where you shoot any ball.
Right.
And you really have to know combinations to play that game, because you're constantly subjected to those kind of shots. All right, a little bit on English. We haven't covered it too much. One thing I wanted to show you, these diamonds are here for a reason, aren't they? And let me show you how they can be used. Let's say the cue ball is straight across this diamond here. Well, the amount of English that I'll use can basically tell me exactly where the cue ball is going to hit the rail off that rail. So if I need to hit the 3 ball and I'm blocked by another ball like this, I know that if I use a half a diamond of left English, half a tip. In other words, there's dead center, here's a half a tip. I'm going to hit the 3. Now, if I want to hit the 3, which is 1 pull, yeah. Now if I have a tip and a half, or a diamond and a half, I'm going to use their center, 1 tip, diamond, tip and a half of left English. Taking me to 3.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
On English. When you're setting up to put a half tip or a tip of English on it,
Yeah,
do you line up straight and then move the tip over, or do you move the whole cue over?
I move the whole cue over.
Okay.
Some people can do it the other way, but it's probably more difficult that way. Now if I have 2 diamonds away, I can simply use 1 tip of left English, 2 tips of left English, and make it that way. And then if I have even more distance, how do I make the 8 ball in this case? In other words, 2 tips takes me here, so how can I put a little extra on it? Well, the answer is I don't want to use more than 2 tips, but if I elevate my cue a little bit, hitting the 2 tips of left English. Anyway, you get the idea.
So why would you have to
Elevating the cue enhances the amount of English because it tends to make the cue ball curve a little. We call that a masse. And I know that's kind of advanced stuff, but that's important.
So why would you choose to use English as opposed to the technique you showed us the other week where you...
Just to demonstrate English,
Okay.
because I would do it a
Okay.
simpler way, but I wanted to show you how you can use English to measure. A half a tip of English takes you a half a diamond. 1 tip of English takes you to a full diamond. Tip and a half takes you here, 2 tips to here. When I'm shooting straight across the table. And you can kind of, figure that out when you're using English in other places on the table. Now, a lot of shots like this, the whole reason that we use English is to widen the angle, okay? Now normally if I just hit a center ball hit here with a rolling ball, when I come up about here, almost to the side pocket. But if I want to expand the angle on these shots, it's amazing how 1 tip of English is really all you need on a shot like this. Because I don't want to cross the line when I get position on the 8. I want it to hit the rail and go into the line. So on this kind of shot, all I need is 1 tip of right English. That's all I need. And then I hit the rail and then bounce into the line of the next shot. A lot of people might over-English that and their cue ball goes like this, and your margin for error is very small.
Does right English give more distance or is it left English?
Okay, it depends on the angle. See, on this shot, we call it running English because it speeds up. And running English is always away from the pocket you're shooting at. So inside English would be the exact opposite. That would be left, and that would slow the cue ball down. Look at how much difference 1 tip of left came here, 1 tip of right came here. That's 1, 2, 3.5 diamonds difference.
Did you have to adjust your aim for
accommodate the English.
Well, that's a whole other problem. Yeah, you do. But if you hit at medium speed with English, the curve and the deflection balance out, depending on the distance. So that's why speed on English is so important. If you hit English with a real powerful, shot, it's going to deflect a lot, and then you have to compensate.
So when you were doing the diamond,
Yeah,
you were using left English,
yeah,
so it wouldn't go as far.
right. Now, if I went the other way, I could do the same thing going into the side pocket. So I know one tip takes me here, two tips takes me here. So it would be the same thing, only in this one I'm using two tips to take me to the side pocket. The thing I wanted you to remember is how one tip and two tips, you can actually measure how far it will come off the rail. Okay. All right, a lot of English helps you slow the ball down. Let's say a shot like this. And when I shoot the 13, I don't want the cue ball to end up way down here, do I? Make a long shot on the 8. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a little inside English like this. Left center ball. So when it hits the rail, it's slowed down. If I had right English, I would have ended up way down by the pocket. So that's another reason you use English, is to slow the cue ball down. And you notice that was not running English. That was inside English. In other words, running English is always away from the pocket that you're shooting. So if I put running English, same speed, now that would be a hard shot, wouldn't it, at that distance? But by using the inside English, I was able to slow it down. Here's another shot that comes up a lot. Let's say you have solids. Like this, yeah, something like that. As Kathy can see, it doesn't look like you can make the 3, does it?
Not unless you think it.
Okay. Well, I can make the 3 with English. Here's another reason you use English, is to throw the object ball. So what I'm going to do here is put a substantial amount of English, so with right English, so it'll be turning this way. So when it hits the 3, it will throw it to the left. And that's another reason you use English. You can stand by the, it's actually a pretty easy shot. See, that would have been unmakeable if I didn't use English. And you can go either direction. Here's another example. Here's a shot where the 8 is kind of in the way again to make the 12. But what English do I use to make the 12 on this shot?
Left.
Left, of course. And you'll be surprised how far you can actually throw it. It becomes an easy shot.
Is it kind of the opposite on that also? If you want the ball to go left, you go right. If you want the ball to go right, you go left.
Exactly. It's always the opposite.
And that was
Exactly.
legal hitting the 8 ball.
I didn't hit the 8 ball until after I made a legal shot. If I would have hit, Kathy's right. If I hit the 8 first, it was foul ball in here. Okay.
But you didn't.
I didn't. All right. Anything else? Are you all ready to play? All right. Let's see. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, perfect number. All right. We got 8 players, so we only need 4 tables. But I'm going to let you all determine whether or not you want to play in the 9-foot or the bar boxes. We have 6 available tables. These 3 bar tables, the 2 over here, and the 1 in the corner. All right. But I'm not going to assign you matches. I'm going to let you just play one game with each of the players in here. So what I'd like you to do now is just invite somebody to play. And you have to agree on what table you're going to play on. And we'll just kind of go from there. And I'm going to be walking around helping you out, and ask me questions, and we'll just have a fun time, I hope. But I notice when people get in competition or playing somebody, especially in a tournament or a league, they get nervous and they start to think, well, what if I miss? Are people watching me? All this other kind of stuff. Let that all go. Those are like clouds blowing away. Just focus on the visualizing the shot you want to make. That's the key to being a good mental approach to pool. Without all that self-talk that sometimes jeopardizes our skills and abilities. Okay, anything else? All right, let's have at it. Invite somebody. What? You can either lag or flip a coin.
Yeah.
Lag or
Well, that's
flip a
what we
coin.
turned it, so that was.
All right.